What do I want to cover this morning? And a story came to mind. It was just a few years ago. I was at an intersection in LA, and it made me, I've been gone for 7 years, and maybe this stuff happens a lot here as well. But I'm in an intersection going, and I'm on my way to one of the offices. We had many offices there, but it was about midday, where presumably nobody would be in any crazy hurry. It's not like they're late for work or anything, but there's this big, beautiful Class A motorhome. And when I say motorhome, I don't want to, it wasn't an Itasca or a Dream World or anything like that. This was like a true blue bus conversion. The thing was probably, I don't know, $1.5 million, could have been $2 million. And I have some familiarity with them. I'm not just throwing that number around lightly, Caesar. It was $1.5 million to $2 million bus, but it was a motorhome, absolutely gorgeous. And I'm sitting at the intersection, and I'm watching this guy who's driving the thing. He's going perpendicular, opposite direction that I'm going. I'm trying to go this way, he's going that way, and trying to then turn. And the light changes for him. It was green, it now turns yellow, and he's still trying to navigate this huge bus through this intersection. And then the light turns red, and he's still not through it. Well, I'm the first car in my lane, and then there's a car next to me, and then there's a car next to him, so it's a 3-lane road. And the guy's trying to get through the intersection. He's not through it all the way. And as soon as the light changes to it, I still think that there was some orange hue to the red light. That's how quickly this happened. Bam, the guy next to me, what did he do? Like that. And it wasn't just a tap, like go. It was like and I'm looking like, what the hell are you doing? Right. And then the guy next to him starts to honk as well. It was like it was contagious or something. Right. And I'm watching this. What is interesting is that as the thing is going through the intersection, and even as the horn is blaring until it like jostled me out of my train of thought, do you know what I was thinking?
It's a really cool motorhome.
Yes. I mean, this thing is freaking awesome. It's like this guy is tooling around in a $1.5 million to $2 million bus. And if he's tooling around in that, what I know is that that's not his house. He's probably not got just one. He's probably got what? He's got at least two. He's got multiple homes. You don't just drive around in a bus like that and not have a lot of what? Guy has a lot of money. There's no question about it. I wonder what he does for a living. I wonder how long he's owned that bus, that motorhome. I wonder how much he paid for it. I'm asking myself all these questions. In other words, this is the one I'm having with myself. The conversation I'm having with myself. And then the guy next to me, it's interesting. Do you think he and I were having different conversations?
Yeah.
Completely different conversations. It was the same scenario, and we're having two different sets of thoughts and a completely different what? Well, yes, but a completely different what?
Conversation
Experience. It was a completely different experience. I was interested to know what is it that brought this guy to this situation, why he has it, how much it was. I'd really like to see it inside. That was the conversation I was having with myself. In other words, that was the way in which I was looking at the scenario. Whereas the guy next to me was having a counterpart. Now, I don't know what was going on in his world, right? All I know is that he was not happy that the guy who was trying to get through the intersection and was doing it while the light was green still wasn't through it by the time that it turned red. Well, he wasn't in it very long by the time, the guy started honking and got through. I can tell you that the honking wasn't what encouraged the guy to get through. He was just going through anyway, right? Well, why do I tell you that story? Well, I want you to write down these two words, blueprint. Write down the words blueprint. What do I mean by that? Blueprint. What I mean by that is the way we look at things. So if you want to, next to that, blueprint, ... the way I look at things, or the way we look at things. How do you look at things? It's interesting. The way we look at things affect our experiences. Yes or yes?
Yes.
I remember that moment because for two reasons. That was an amazing motorhome. It was absolutely gorgeous, probably the nicest one I've ever seen. that shiny chrome exterior with this customized paint job. Most of it was chrome. You could tell it was brand new. It was like absolutely gorgeous. And the guy next to me then is having a completely different experience, having to come apart. Now, I am certain that the guy next to me probably doesn't even remember that day. If I were to approach him and say, do you remember 3 years ago when you were at the intersection of Los Angeles and Madeira, where you had to come apart because that motorhome was, he'd let me like, what are you talking about? Right. But I remember it because it was such a distinct or stark difference between what I was experiencing versus what he was experiencing. So I just want you to think about that. I want you to think about your blueprints, because it's not just your overall blueprints in the way you see the world, right? But also your blueprint and the way you interact in certain situations. I'll give you another example of this and how it impacts us. And as I'm sharing the story with you, Isaac, I want you to think about maybe prospecting, for example, what your blueprint is for that, or what your blueprint is for having tough conversations with buyers or sellers and saying things that maybe you're not comfortable with. So a friend of mine was sharing with me a story when, and this was years ago, when they used to work at Starbucks. And he shared with me that they had all sorts of people who would come in. Nice people, mean people, angry people, happy people, shy people, like very aggressive people. Well, one morning, this gal comes in and she is dressed to the nines. I mean, she's dressed so impeccably. And you can tell, at least the way she's dressed, she's certainly screaming like, I have a lot of money. And then to top it all off, she had on a pair of very expensive sunglasses. Now, this Starbucks is inside a mall, right? And it's in the morning, so there's not a lot of light except for the natural light that's in the room, right? And she approaches him, and it's so interesting. In his mind, he's thinking, who does she think she is coming into here dressed like that and wearing her what? Sunglasses. Like she thinks she's better than than everybody else or me, right? And so he said, yes, may I help you? But he said it in a way that he wouldn't normally say. It was kind of like a little bit of irritation in his voice, Bob. And she said, yeah, I'd like to get whatever. And he said, he asked her another question, and he finally couldn't help himself. He was so irritated by the fact that she came in dressed like that and had on a pair of sunglasses in the mall. He said, it's pretty bright in here, isn't it? And oh boy. And she said, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. And this is where, it's like, you realize that he's a horse's ass in this moment. She said, I just had eye surgery. And my eyes are very sensitive to any sort of light. And so the doctor has said that I should wear these glasses for the next few days until my eyes go out, so that I'm not so sensitive. And in fact, that the light doesn't damage my eyes. Now, how did he feel at that moment? Like a complete what? Like an ass. Yeah, like a complete ass, right? But his blueprint was, if somebody walks in dressed like that, wearing sunglasses, they must think that they're better than me, right? In other words, the way he looked at that situation, or his blueprint, dictated his what? You said it. Our blueprint, they dictate what? Our experience. And so the question I have for each and every one of you is this: what blueprint or blueprints do you have that are not productive, that are counterproductive, that ultimately screw up your life? Whether we're talking a business or your personal life. I mean, what's your blueprint as it relates to prospecting, for example? What's your blueprint to getting up in the morning and going to the gym? What's your blueprint when it comes to money? How do you look at money? In other words, what beliefs do you have, perspectives that you have, blueprints that you hold that are counterproductive ultimately to the person that you say that you want to be, and the things that you want to accomplish? So just take 60 seconds, and I want you to identify one blueprint in your life that you know is counterproductive and that needs to change. Just take 60 seconds. Let's do that. Because I guarantee you, we all do. I do. I still do. I'm still that guy at the intersection who will sometimes get impatient like that one guy and honk the horn. I try not to work on it. Relationships, your health, your business, forgiveness. I'm not going to forgive unless they apologize. Money's not that important. If you had a lot of money, you probably had to lie, steal, still cheat to get it. Prospecting is really scary, and it actually, quite frankly, doesn't really work that well. What is the blueprint? I hate the gym. I hate it. Nothing but a bunch of pain. I go in there and it exhausts me. I feel sore. I feel sore the next day. I don't like the gym. I hate buyers. I hate sellers. I hate real estate agents. I hate people. I hate people who are different than me. Can't stand those Mormons. Can't stand those Catholics. Watch out for those Buddhists. Watch out for those Tesla drivers. Those Nissan drivers. And those uppity Nissan drivers that drive Infinity. Watch out for them. Jason, did you identify one that's kind of productive?
I think so. I think it's kind of a hard thing to do because.
It is actually.
If you're aware of it, you're trying to change it, because we're in the environment of trying to change it. So I look at it and I go, there's a few things.
That you
It's
struggle
not
with.
as clear.
Yeah, and I agree, and I would say the same thing. There are several that I can say, well, I don't know if that's my blueprint, like I would say, yeah, I do that all the time, but it's certainly one that I struggle with, and I have to constantly remind myself, no, that's not productive. So what was it? You mind sharing it?
Yeah, the one that I find that I fall back on a lot is if people don't recognize my worth, then screw them. I don't have to show them. And I think sometimes that hurts me because.
Well, you think,
Yeah.
right? It 100% every time hurts you, right? Yeah, how could you change that?
Well, I need to take the approach of just going out and showing my worth, and regardless of what people think.
Yeah.
Show their worth. Show
Right.
their worth.
Right. In other words, stop making it about you and start making it about them. Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. That's so important. That's actually a very big deal right there. That's one of the reasons we have so much fear in our lives, is because we're so internal. We make it about what? About ourselves, as opposed to focusing on others. I mean, imagine somebody reaching out to you in this dire, desperate situation, whether it's like a car accident, or there's a financial need, or they're having relationship challenges, and they come to you absolutely distraught, panicked, they're afraid, and they say, I need your help. You're going to say, I'm sorry, I can't help you, I'm afraid. No, none of you do that. You show up and you say, what? Of course I can help you. And you come with a great deal of what? Well, yes, but ultimately that value is what? Yes, you're certainly, yes, I can help you. Because you stop focusing on you and you're focusing on what? On them. Yeah, so Jason, I think that's very powerful. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Somebody else. Yeah.
For sale by owners are very close-minded.
Yeah, okay. All
The
right,
problem actually is me,
yeah. So how would you change that?
focus on them,
Uh-huh,
just what you were teaching this morning.
yeah. So are they closed-minded?
No,
No. In fact, I could argue that they're completely the opposite of that. They've given a lot of thought to it. Now, we might say that some of their thoughts may not be correct necessarily, based upon the paradigm that we use within the business, right? But are they closed-minded? Yeah,
they're actually just like me.
they are just like you, right? Yeah, yeah. So if you were to change that, how would you change it specifically? What would you say instead of?
For sale by owners are just like me, and we can all come together.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, all right. Would that impact the conversations that you had?
Oh, yes.
Would it impact your attitude before you made those
Oh,
calls?
yes.
Yeah. In other words, again, it's really, so much of this is about getting out of your own head and start getting into the heads of what? Of other people. It's what we talked about this morning. It's like when you begin that listening conversation, instead of focusing on yourself, and you start focusing on everything that they shared with you that's important to them or that they're concerned about, it makes the conversation so much easier. When you focus on other people as opposed to being focused on yourself. Because when you focus on yourself, ultimately it creates a sense of what? You said it, the opposite of it. You said certainty, right? So when we focus on ourselves, it creates what? Uncertainty. What did you write down?
I said at times, because I've had deals come fall through, I said sometimes I wonder if I can actually sell real estate.
You're right. Yeah, doesn't seem like a very productive blueprint, does it? You even asked that question, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so how would you change that?
Change my thought process on it.
Yeah, but how specifically?
Um,
Recognize what?
I think it's not focusing on one specific deal.
Okay,
It's kind of what I thought about it. It's like kind of not putting everything in one basket.
Yep.
So just,
okay,
but just like continuing prospecting, talk to new people and have different conversations.
okay. How would you change that, guys? How would you help them with that?
Well, our first affirmation is I am a professional agent who gets home sold.
Yeah.
So that could be a start right there.
Yeah,
Just
but-
saying that.
Yes, I like that, but I want to get more granular to the situation. What did you say caused you to say that?
Deals falling through.
Deals falling through. Do deals fall through in real estate?
Yeah.
All the time. See, that's normal, but if you say to yourself, that's not normal, so therefore there's something wrong with me and this isn't going to work, well, guess what? You're right, it's not going to. But if you say, well, this stuff happens all the time. It happens all the time, and you say, that's what? That's normal, that's okay. Then you say, well, then all I have to do is keep doing this because I know that if that's normal, that eventually I'll get the results that I'm looking for, because obviously people do.
Maybe I am not the market.
Okay,
If my dad can do it, I shouldn't do it.
and that's the best one. I like that one. Yeah, that's so true, especially if you knew him as a 23-year-old man when I knew him. Yeah, there's no question. You're gonna do really well in this business. Yeah, anybody else want to share one before we finish up? Caesar, Adam, Bob, Kelly? One,
I always say I can do it tomorrow,
okay,
so.
so your blueprint is, yeah, that there's tomorrow's promised, I can do it tomorrow. It's not that urgent. Okay, so how would you change that?
Just gotta make a list of what you're gonna do and just get it done.
Okay. I don't like your answer.
I don't know. Put a frog on your desk,
Yeah, yeah,
Brian Tracy.
I understand what you're saying, yes, and that's where I'm going with this, is try to create some urgency.
Tomorrow's not promised.
Bingo, that's it,
Right,
that's it. Well, I'll do it tomorrow. I know several people over the course of the last year who don't have another tomorrow, they're gone. I know somebody that I knew exceptionally well, I was really close to in California, who just about 4 weeks ago passed away unexpectedly. No tomorrows, right? So you assess and say, okay, what's really important to me? What am I trying to accomplish? And recognize, look, man, I got to associate what I want with this idea that it's not promised tomorrow. There's no guarantee. So I appreciate your answer and it's okay, but the truth is, it's what Jason said, that tomorrow is not promised. And if you look at it that way, it's a completely different paradigm. It's a completely different paradigm. It's a completely different blueprint. Yes? That's what Jim Rohn says. Jim Rohn says, well, you think I've got 20 years to do something. I got 30 years. I got 50 years to go. I'm going to live to 102. Actually, so that's 49 years, right? Well, what Jim said is that people will say, I got 20 years. No, you don't have 20 years. If you do something like once a year, his point is you don't have 20 years, you got 20 chances at it. You got 20 chances.
I heard George say once, we can sleep when we're dead.
Yeah, my dad says that too. You can sleep when you're dead. Yeah, but I think the important point is recognizing that the urgency to it, that there is some urgency to it. I think that so many of the things that are important to us, we lack the recognition that it is urgent, because we believe that, to Jason's point, that tomorrow is promised, that next year is promised, and nobody knows that. Nobody knows that. So just be mindful of what your blueprint is, and recognize that your blueprint is not only the big picture things, but also those small things on a day-to-day basis that impact your interaction with people, whether it's in traffic or it's at the store or it's on the phone with somebody or at the door or whatever it is. To recognize that the quality of the experiences that you have on a daily basis have everything to do with your blueprint and the way you look at things. One of my guiding mantras or principles is to be more curious and less judgmental. And one of the reasons that I have that mantra that it's an axiom for me, because I recognize that if I go through my day being less judgmental and being more curious, on average, my days are going to be worse or better. They're going to be better. So take a look at your blueprints. Recognize those that are productive, recognize those that are counterproductive, and work on changing those that are counterproductive, the way you did this morning. And be mindful of that, because if you'll change your blueprint, you're going to change your outcome, because your blueprint really is that. It's like a set of blueprints to build a house. If you've got the wrong set of blueprints, right, it's not engineered correctly, and you try to build that house that you see in your brain, is it going to translate in reality? Is it going to manifest? And the answer is no. If the blueprint shows that you start construction by framing on top of sand, that thing's not going to withstand. But if your blueprint is, well, first of all, I got to dig down to terra firma, I got to build footings and then do the foundation on top of that, that's what manifests. Then, of course, it's going to be a completely different experience. Yes or yes?
Yes.
So think about the way you're looking at things. Because ultimately, the experiences that we all have, regardless of what's going on out there and the interactions and actions of other people, none of that's relevant. What's relevant is the way in which we see things and the way in which we conduct ourselves, the conversations that we have with ourselves. In other words, ultimately the blueprint, the way in which we see the world. Yes or yes?
Yes.
Okay, gang, let's finish this up with some closing affirmations. Great job on being here. I love the fact that you guys are here and your competition is apparently in bed.
The T-Hard Vectors is a great blueprint one for your money. If you ever have money blueprint.
Yep. In fact, that's where that idea of blueprints was introduced to me. T. Harv Eckert. What's the name of that book? Millionaire Secrets of a Millionaire Mind.
Yeah.
Yep. Great book. If you haven't read that book, get it. Secrets of a Millionaire Mind by T. Harv. All right. And with that, bring on a little bit of what's his name? David Lee Roth. There we go. All right, man.